Hi, everyone. I'm Katey Rich. I'm the awards editor at The Ankler. I'm so excited. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here to moderate this conversation with some of the team behind High Potential. So I want to start with Drew because, as far as I know, this show really starts with you. Obviously, it was a show that existed in Europe somewhere else, and as far as I can tell, it seems to me that you said, I'll make a procedural, but going to make it weird and quirky and interesting, which is the way that I like my shows. That was the only way you were going to make this show happen, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm attracted to genre, but I always want to find a different way in. And when I saw it's based on a French show, and they, this genre, this police procedural genre is typically, it's a very male gaze, cop who doesn't play by the rules. And when I saw it was told from a single mom's point of view, I was like, oh, that feels fresh and new. I was instantly hooked, and I thought, okay, I feel like we can do something fun with this.
So then when you're putting it together, I think Morgan is such a specific character when we see Kaitlin playing her, but what was she when you were imagining her? How did she emerge, and then how did Kaitlin shape who she is?
It's interesting because I can't remember anymore a version without you. I really can't, because you really took it to make it your own. So I don't even remember where it started. I mean, the tone was always there in terms of she was a mom first, and she didn't want to be there. I think those were the two key points of like, oh, she could solve this crime, but she didn't want to at all. And I think that sort of drove at least the pilot, how we sort of navigated it. It was like the mom was who she was, and then it's like circumstance kept pulling her in. I think that was sort of what we started with. Does that sound right to you? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so is it the being a mom or the not wanting to be there at all part that you liked best about this character, Kaitlin?
Well, I mean, both. Those are actually the two main things I love about this character. I love that, and we keep talking about it. We're like, oh, wait, how can we go back to, I love that she's now fitting in and that she belongs there and that she's found a sense of purpose and that that they're all working together. But how can we keep peppering in? She doesn't want to be there, and that's hard. But those are the two things I find the most interesting, is that she's just such a really, really good mom at home, and that's the one place where she lets all of her walls down.
I mean, pilots are so notoriously difficult to pull off. You have so much you have to explain, and you're in this one, you're wrapping in an entire mystery about characters who we won't see again. So for you, Alethea, I mean, I know you're getting a script in that shape, but what were your conversations with any of these guys early on about, like, what is this tone? What is this show? Because it's not normal, and you can't make it predictable, otherwise it's not High Potential.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I remember getting the script and getting the pitch for it and being like, they want me, like, for a crime procedural? Like, I don't do
same,
that.
Girl, same.
I do weird stuff. And they were like, it's weird. And I was like, oh, okay. So I read it and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Because there were these little glimmers of strangeness, and it was giving us all of the hits of a crime procedural that we all sit down to watch. We do want certain things. When I sit down to watch a procedural, I want to feel comforted and all those things. But I guess some of the things we spoke about, I really enjoyed my conversations with Kaitlin about working to make sure that Morgan is an amazing mother. Like, you don't want to do much weird comedy there or anything slapstick or physical. She's just incredibly devoted to her kids, and I loved that. I love playing with tone in that way, grounding it in that space sometimes as well, and portraying her in a really dimensional way. That's really important to me as a director in everything I do, dimensionalizing, especially female characters. And so that really drew me in. And working with Drew on the pilot, he was by my side for all of the shoot as an amazing partner, and just we were always pushing the tone and making sure that we were not making something quirky for the sake of quirk.
That's interesting, because I feel like quirky, the line between quirky that you want to watch and quirky that you don't want to watch can be really fine. And Kaitlin, for you, when you're going to be the face on the poster, this is going to be your show. When you have those early conversations with any of these guys, what do you need to know from them to know that you guys are all on the same page, that this is going to be the show that you wanted to make in the first place?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, you never want to be the actor that comes in and is like, yeah, I'll do it. And also, ooh, I'm gonna change it all up if I don't like it. Like, I don't. That can be weird for an actor sometimes to speak up and say, this feels like it's getting too, like she was saying, silly or quirky. There's such a fine line in comedy, especially when you're trying to balance comedy with a real grounded world. And Drew's pilot was so brilliant because it wrote it so well. But then Alethea came along and executed it so well. And I think the key was really just communication and just being like, hey, I'm confused. I went to her, I remember before we shot the pilot, and I said, I'm really nervous about the Morgan visions because on the page, I don't understand what that's going to look like. They scared me. I didn't want it to look like, you know, a bad reenactment or something. And she was like, oh, the Morgan visions are the thing that I'm most excited about. And I was like, well, that's great. I'm such a control freak too. Like for me to be able to just fully let go and put something completely into someone else's hands, his script and her vision, it was such a relief to have such a safe partnership. Because you're right, that can be really, the tone is very tricky.
Yeah. Alethea, I want to hear about the Morgan visions because they are such a specific thing. And I do think the moment in the pilot when they show up, you're like, oh, I kind of get what this is. But it's totally right that if you're reading that in the script, you're like, oh, that could really go wrong. So why was that so clear for you of what those would be and how the Morgan visions would work?
I've always loved stories that are elevated. Like I have a really hard time, you know, with just straight dialogue. So I love my craft deeply as a director. I love moving the camera in a motivated way. So I'm looking for things that challenge me as a filmmaker and make me better. So when I read those Morgan visions, I was like, oh, snap, like I want to do this. I can do this. This looks really challenging. And then the next challenge, of course, is on any schedule, you're never going to have enough time. So I always call it the squeeze, like when you've got to fight to get those extra things and get those extra pieces, you saw all those photos, like you have to make sure that people are taking those photos and taking them well. And I'm over shooting something else down on another part of the set. And we've sent a photographer, and Drew's producer, Andrea, she's down there making sure the blood's on the floor, because we want to get all those little beats and finding ways to finesse and elevate. So you had to fight really hard to make sure that those Morgan visions were really thoughtful, and that I felt like the audience would enjoy seeing that. So I had to put a lot of care into it.
So, Todd, I feel like the role of the showrunner is often to fight that squeeze and to figure out what to fight for, what not to, how to keep all the trains running on time. So, you know, when the show is emerging, it's got this tone that everyone's talking about. How do you help keep that train on the track and keep the visions and the tone and everything else the way that it's supposed to be?
No, it's super easy. It happens naturally, and it's no problem at all. It doesn't stress me out at all. I mean,
Todd had a full head of dark brown hair when he came to us.
she's not kidding. I didn't look like this 12 months ago, but I love it, and it's worth it. I mean, you build a great, writing staff. You put a bunch of wonderful brains in a room to help you out. You treat your wonderful cast as an extension of the writer's room. I think Kaitlin made, the most salient point is, where I've been successful in running shows is communication, and that's not just with your wonderful crew, but with your cast and making sure your writing staff learns the show and studies the show. And once you all get on the same page, it does, help the workflow and the stress of getting the most out of the money and resources you have, and making sure that makes it onto the screen, because I was inheriting a great pilot. And when you inherit a great pilot, you can't go, oh, well, they had this many days and this much money. You have to go, well, I have this to build on. Now, how do we do it on a slightly different schedule, and give the audience, the quality that the pilot, established? And it is a challenge, but we're pulling it off. And we hire great directors, and we write scripts that are producible, but find the moments that elevate and sophisticate, and making sure the Morgan visions continue to meet the standard that the pilot established. And yeah, it's tricky, but you build an amazing team, you lean on them, and it takes a giant village to pull off a show like this. It's wildly ambitious, and it's every day's a challenge, but it's been wonderful.
I mean, Drew, to rewind to the handoff a little bit, it's very, as far as I can tell, you said, all right, I can make this show, I have the vision for it, but somebody else has got to be in charge of it. And that's that's another trust thing we're talking about, the conversations you have to have. So how did that work for you guys to be able to make it say, what I built is going to continue on with Todd running it?
I mean, that's part of the fun part, honestly. This is a collaborative medium, and I actually love working with 300 people to make this, and depending on the show, my job is different from show to show or movie, but I don't really see it differently. It's still, you go to work with people you adore, and you do the job that day requires. And I knew Todd can do this show better than I can do this show. I knew Alethea could direct this pilot better than I can direct this pilot. And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun, because now we're all in the trench together. And so I don't really worry about it. It's just like, oh, all right, what's Monday? All right, we'll go hang out and see what today's going to hold. The best part of this show is every episode is wildly different. It's so fun to look at the call sheet and go, oh, I guess we're, in Malibu today. Oh, tomorrow we're up in the hills. Murders can happen anywhere in this city. And it's delightful to go to work every day.
Well, to ask all of you guys, this being an LA show, I think, anytime you talk about something being produced in LA, you get a wild round of applause, which I'm expecting to get from this audience too. It really does matter. It really is way rarer than it used to be. And I assume it was important for all of you guys, but what makes this an LA show? You could translate it from France. It could have been anywhere. Why did this have to be an LA show for any of you guys?
I mean, it felt like the DNA. I just feel like I love this city. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in New Mexico. I came here with wide eyes. I still love every block of this city. And I believe that this city at its core is like 50 cities in one. And I do believe for TV, for a show like this, where we can go anywhere and we have a protagonist who actually at her core, despite what she says about not wanting to be there, is an enthusiast, right? Is enthusiastic about the moment she finds herself in. It felt like we can use this city to its best potential. And it was a fight. I mean, it was a fight. Kaitlin and I had to make that fight together, but we won. And so it was great. And we're trying to use this show to show this city that, no, we can do this, and we can do it responsibly and cost effectively as well. And so far, so good.
Kaitlin, how'd you pull off that fight? What'd you tell him?
I said, my kids live in LA and I'm not doing it unless it's shot here. But you know what? Drew's right. There's no reason that we can't shoot it here. I wasn't going to move across the country. They were like, oh, but it's just for this. No, it's not. If I'm signing on to this show and I know who is running it, I know who's directing it, I know who created it, I know what I'm going to bring to it, it's going to be successful. I'm not moving across the country for the entire year after year after year. So we'll do it here or get someone else respectfully, and that would be fine too. You're right.
It's really easy to play to the hometown crowd in these conversations. You guys are getting really good at it. So Todd, handling these episodes week to week, making them happen. What is the LA production? What are the rewards you get from going to Malibu, going to the hills, finding murders all over the city? What do you guys get to take advantage of by doing that?
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, now that we have a successful show, thank you for watching, everybody. And it really does. This season, I think the audience will feel more of LA as a character in the show. I mean,
in the next season.
Yeah. I mean, you're just going to see we're really embracing all the things the city has to offer and all the different, as Drew said, you go 10 miles east or 10 miles west and you get different textures, different cultures, different architecture, and we're really leaning into that in the stories that we're telling. It was tough to do it in season one because it's about sort of survival, and we didn't have, I think, some of the luxuries we have this year and some of the freedom in the plotting and planning to really embrace the city this year. So, yeah, I think that we're writing to it. You're going to see it in the premiere. I mean, we're doing some crazy things and shooting some iconic LA locations. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And I just, beyond that, it's the casting and the directors you get and the wonderful actors you get in the city. It just all is coming together, I think, in season 2 because we learned some things in season 1, right? You're sort of recalibrating in a way. But yeah, I've never gotten to work here really in my whole career, 20-something years.
Wow.
Once, I think one time. And that's crazy, right? Doesn't that have to change? I mean, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
This idea of, now that you have a hit, now that you have the groundwork that you laid with the first season, I think you've said that the second one will be longer. There's more than 13 episodes coming, probably. Okay, we
More
don't have
than
to.
13, less than 24.
Okay, we'll take that. But I wanted to ask all of you, maybe to start with you, Alethea. You know, you've had a bunch of different jobs. You work on something, you might be a hit, it might not, you don't know. When you realized that this show was taking off and that people were responding to the, you know, the quirkiness, the good kind of quirkiness we were talking about, how do you process that and realize like, oh yeah, we pulled it off?
Oh, that's a really interesting question.
Do you feel like you pulled it off?
I do.
Good,
I
good.
felt like we were pulling it off as we were shooting it. It was a really special shoot. It's a really special cast, and the material was so good. But yeah, you're right. Like I have been involved with things that haven't been received commercially, and it felt really good. It felt like these are good people. The whole cast are incredibly kind and generous and playful and willing to go there. I love directing them. They're like working with a field of sunflowers. Like, they're gorgeous. So yeah, it felt really good. It felt really wholesome, and it's like, this feels right. They deserve this.
Yeah. I mean, knowing that, you know, season 2 is coming, we're not going to spoil anything about it. But Kaitlin, I wanted to ask you, as this character grows, and you know, it's a procedural, we're seeing kind of stories that can kind of come out and out, and there's a format to that. But the way that the character can grow can be infinite. You know, that's a character-based show lets you do that. So what? I mean, maybe just to go back to season 1, how did you feel like you had let Morgan grow in season 1 in a way that can build onto in season 2?
Yeah, I come from a show where there's a character who does not grow and will never grow. So I've never really had to think about it before. But it's one of the things I love about Morgan is that, I mean, I really love at her core at the beginning of the pilot who she was. And I also really loved being able to play a person who does not want to let her guard down, but needs something from someone else and hates that she needs something from someone else because she's always only relied on herself. And it's just, I'm able to explore all these different things as an actor that I get to do, so it's very refreshing. I think, and we talk about it a lot, but finding that balance between Morgan really settling in and feeling appreciated and allowing that acceptance, where normally she just pushes everyone away. Being able to marry that with who she really is at her core, which is fun, which is like, screw everyone, I don't need anybody, and where she can and can't let her guard down. Just being able to play with all of that is really nice.
I think this is a Drew question and a Todd question, maybe the both of you. There's a sense that Morgan, like what she knows and what she can know, can feel really infinite. And I think there's a logic in the show about what she can figure out and what she can't, or you know, how her powers work, for lack of a better word. How do you establish that? How do you figure out the rules of that, of having this character who is so brilliant, but she's got to feel like a real person in the end of it, even if she's doing things none of the rest of us can do? How did that work?
I mean, we talk a lot about we don't want to make her just a walking Wikipedia. The truth is, you kind of know what you're interested in. So everything that she knows is actually just a window into what she cares about. And when you approach it like that, there's times where she's like, she doesn't know something because she doesn't care. And I think that's the important distinction. She could know it, but she doesn't care. And so I think that sort of guides us as best we can. And then the other part of it is, you always have to balance it by, there's a ton she doesn't know about basic human decency and kindness. And like she's still learning how to be a good parent. She wants to be a good parent, but I mean, I have kids myself. Every day about parenting is failure. You're just failing all the time. And then you're just slowly getting better. That's it. And I feel like that's the key to the character. She can be a genius at, you know, forensics, but, you know, how do you console your kid when they get a bad grade? Like, that's a whole different level of intelligence. And so we're trying to walk that balance all the time.
I mean, Todd, does it mean the writers have to be walking Wikipedia and just looking up facts all the time? Like, I don't even know how you research or write a script for this show.
That's just me. That's all me.
Where's you working for the police right now?
I know. Yes. Writers constantly Googling and researching. We have a couple of dedicated researchers to help us out. But it's still really, really hard to come up with inspired Morgan visions and everything. It's really tricky. But yeah, I think Drew said it best. There are certain rules that we try to follow. And by the way, we slip up and a script makes it to this one down here on the end and nothing gets through her. She's so good at hearing the sour note in a scene or flagging like why this just feels like Morgan's being smart for the sake of being smart, or being smart and kind of obnoxious, and that's not who she is, right? She doesn't come in to like dazzle and show people like I'm smarter than you. That's not how she uses her superpower. So we have to police ourselves in the writer's room, and if something slips through, this one, I see her
Loves
coming too.
getting texts from me.
I love your
middle of the
texts.
night.
And I can see her, if it makes it to the set, like I can see her facial expression now and know, here it comes. It didn't, something isn't right. And then I go, oh, I think I know it's not right. And she just told me. And now we have to fix it. And we do, and it makes the show better. It does. Like, you have to be like on your game because she's a perfectionist, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, so what is that like a sixth sense you develop after being on television for so long, of knowing when the tone is in the script and kind of being able to see what it'll be like on the show? How do you know? Have a knack for that?
No, I just think my cringe meter is like very finely tuned. So anytime I start to say something and I'm like, this is not coming out right. And he loves that. I just come to him and I'm like, and I point to what he wrote and he's like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's good. It's good for the ego.
Yeah, we had a good.
But
thing
she's
going.
right. She's right. So what are you gonna do? Change it. Make it better.
I don't know that I know. It just feels wrong when I'm saying it out loud. And unfortunately, and he's such a trooper, we get to a certain place where I'll read a script and I'll give notes, but then, we shoot a whole day and then I get ready to go home and I sit in my trailer and I go over the scenes for the next day. I say them all in my voice notes because I got to listen to it all the way home. This is a very hard show to memorize. And I say it out loud, and as I'm saying it out loud, things will pop up. And so it's usually late at night and I'm making notes for poor Todd and I'm listening it all the way home. And by that time I've got an idea about what is tweaking with me and why. And so I will either just rearrange some dialogue, or I'll shoot some ideas by him. If it's too late, we talk about it in the morning. But I will say it's such a relief to be able to just be completely honest with him and just be like, Todd, I don't know why this isn't working. It's just not coming out of my mouth correctly. And he's open to it. There's no ego. We both have the same goal, which is to make the best show that we can. A lot of it is just Morgan's dialogue. Like, it's really, really hard to explain that or to write that character. And the writers are amazing, and Todd's amazing, and they're writing me stuff that's 80% incredible. And sometimes I just want to like get at that extra 20% there. And so I'm a real pain in the ass, and I'm sorry, but not really.
I mean, honestly, it's actually by design. Like, because if you look at the show, it's designed to be a conventional structured show. When I pitched it, in fact, I said, all right, picture any episode of any procedural. Now drop Wile E. Coyote into the middle of it. And I remember thinking like, oh, they don't understand what I mean, but I really mean this. And so by design, this is exactly that day. And there could not be a different dynamic here, because by design it is, we create it in a structured way as the writer's room, and then we actually want to add chaos to it. We want to add a singular point of view to it. To be honest, I can't think of another actor on the planet we would want to add to this, that we would have this level of trust with, because your instincts, it's not just dialogue, it's also soul, which is harder to figure out. But this is what we wanted. I mean, this is what we set up to say, great, take it. Show us the things that we would never come up with. We get us
And
out
I'm
of
so
the
lucky to be in that situation, because maybe you guys know this, maybe you don't. I don't think this is normal. I don't think most people welcome their lead actor going, I have 15 notes right before we're about to start shooting. But they do, and I'm so lucky for that.
I mean, so we've said that season 2 is coming, but we don't want to spoil too much. But Alethea, you've said you are coming back to direct for season 2. So
Yes.
yeah, well, yeah, it's very exciting. And so, without spoiling anything, what do you get to do when you're coming back for a second season that maybe you couldn't do in the pilot? What do you get to build on that, more Morgan Vision, more Wile E. Coyote energy? Like, how do you get to build on some of that coming back?
I'm I'm just really excited to see what the script gives me, and to fall in now and do my best to plus the moments that I'm given, but to play within, to paint within the lines. And I love that. From constriction comes creativity. So it's really what Todd gives me, and I'll do my best to Morgan vision it with you and see how we can enhance it. But I'm really excited to come back. I'm a huge fan of season 1, and just to come back and reunite with the cast and the heads of department that I got to work. Like, I just can't wait to play on that field again, like as it is.
Yeah. So, okay. So, Todd, so what's in the scripts? And now's your chance to tell her and tell everybody else here.
No, I know. I mean, we've always wanted to do an episode that was all improv, where you just, I'm going to give you the framework like Curb Your Enthusiasm style. I don't know. It's like it's later in the season, and I'm just trying to like get through the one we're doing right now and prepping the one that comes after. But I will say this, you all saw what Alethea did in the pilot, and I think we want to come up with something that's pretty ambitious, take a big swing, and let her do what she does so well. And obviously, there's an amazing collaboration with Kaitlin. So when you put that kind of magic back together, I just don't want to screw that up. So we'll figure it out.
So, Kaitlin, what does a big swing mean for you then in season 2? Assuming that you also want to, be able to go bigger and build more.
I want to break some bones. I don't know. I love a big thing. So I love being surprised. I love when I'm in the middle of reading a script and I can't predict where it's going to go. We are so fortunate to have Todd and the staff that he has chosen. And I have no idea what's going to happen, but I love it that way.
Are you someone who can usually like predict a twist in something as you're watching it?
Yeah, and then I'm disappointed.
Oh, and so this show doesn't do that. You can't see what's coming.
No, and if I do, I go, Todd, can we talk?
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys all. Thank you for making High Potential.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody watch season 2. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.